everyone, my name is Jen Greaves. I've been living with type 1 diabetes for 29 years and today's video is all about type 1 travel essentials, and I had to bring in the expert here. So I am joined by the one and only Justin from Diabetech. Hello Justin.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. We've actually done mutual podcasts on each other's podcasts, so I will leave all the links to those episodes. I give Justin a bit of a grilling about his life, and Justin and I on his podcast talked all about all things travel.
Yeah, and like digital nomad travel, like months of travel. And we both had a lot of stories.
So many stories, but with that, one of the questions we both get quite often is how we prep for travel with type 1 diabetes, how we plan for travel with type 1 diabetes, and some of our type 1 diabetes travel essentials. So we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, we're going to try not to be too QVC, but I genuinely use all these products and love them. And if I sound like I'm just going to be super genuine and real.
So Justin's actually in the middle of long-term travel at the moment, and we're both recording this today in sunny Spain, which is where I now live post long-term travel. So it's all beautifully full circle. We've got type 1 diabetes in the mix, and yeah, let's get into it. So prepping and planning for travel, when you start to think about this, long-term or short-term, where do you begin?
Make sure you have your supplies that you need and a lot more than you typically would bring. We got more into like really like how much we're bringing in the episode on my podcast, but you want to at least bring double what you're going to need for long-term travel, because in that long span of time, so many things can go wrong. Things can fall off. You're going to be going to places that are warmer, more humid. You're going to be swimming, whatever it is, like activities that just will bring failures to your devices because the tech fails. As great as it is, it can fail us.
Yeah, and Justin is the tech expert. And I think for me, I don't know, my thing is, I guess, how I feel about all this. I wasn't expecting everything to be perfect all the time because, as you said, you're in new environments with heat, time zones, new foods. You're not kind of cooking for yourself as much. There's just so many variables. If you're on a jet ski, like things are going to start flying off.
And you learn all these things just through new experiences, right? So I feel like I've fine-tuned my supplies and my preparation as much as I can based off of these lived experiences. I've prepared a lot for these crazy little things. I mean, we were just saying that about like my microphones. I'm like, well, I made that mistake. It's not going to happen again. Like, life kind of just gives you all this preparation innately.
Yep. The mics are on. We're good to go.
Oh, oof. Close one.
Yeah. And I think as well, give yourself the time to gather the supplies. That's something I learned, particularly with long-term travel. It took a lot longer to check all the boxes, get the approval, get the deliveries. It's not something you can do like the week of.
I have a list of a checklist that I use, which I can give you the link for that for them.
Great.
And then also I put Post-it notes that say insulin on the door handle of the door before my trips because I have forgotten the insulin. Like I bring everything but the insulin, which is not good.
Yeah, it's not what you want. So with that then, a lot of people are quite nervous about airport security.
Okay.
So I'd like to just ask you a little bit about your experiences. How has that been? And has it been what you expected? Has it differed as you've gone into all these different new countries?
So I feel like at this point, I don't really get much anxiety over security because I've done it so much. I go in confident about the tech I'm wearing, who I am, that I have type 1 diabetes, and that's just what it is. And also knowing that these security people, like I'm not the first person with type 1 or anything. Like people have metal things inside their bodies, whatever it is, they're trained, and maybe they're not the most nice or polite people, but that's like their job not to be, right? So it's about going in and letting them know your needs, if you have any, right? If you're traveling with juices and you are allowed to and you have a note, give it to them. Let them know you have type 1, type 2, whatever, any type of diabetes. I go through the scanners with my tech. I've never had issues. Some people don't. Educators and endos would say you should follow the manufacturer's rules, but I don't. And I'm not a doctor, but I don't.
This is real. We're keeping it real. I'm actually the same. I've been traveling before with a group of people with type 1 diabetes, and it was like half and half, people who wanted to go through the scanners and people who absolutely didn't. I'm a through the scanner gal. I've been through a lot of them now, and I mean, I can't say for sure, but I've survived. I know that for sure, but again, not a medical professional. I think the best thing to do here is point everyone to the episode with your endocrinologist.
It was a really good conversation with my diabetes educator.
Okay.
And she's taught me everything I know. She was there for my first trip ever after diagnosis. 2 months after I was diagnosed, I went to Mexico, and I was so scared, and she guided me through it. That's why I had her on the show.
Okay, amazing. So I'll make sure that's all linked below so that people go and check and get their advice from people who are qualified to give that advice. So getting into the realities of travel with type 1 diabetes, for me, it's about backups on backups on backups, going back to injections if necessary, having the glucose meter, all the things, and more supplies than like as many as I can take, basically. I also have a copy of my prescription. I have a copy of my medical insurance printed out, and like delivery notes from my insulin pump supplies. I've also taken that through. Just anything going through airport security that can be like, I need this for this reason. So
I got none of it. None of it.
I love it.
Well, also like, I don't know. I was only diagnosed at 30 years old 3 years ago. I had traveled for 30 years without the need for any of this. And the way I see my diabetes tech is it's just another piece of tech I'm taking with me like it is my phone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm like, what are they going to say? That insulin pump connected to you isn't yours? Like, I don't know. I've never heard a story where someone wasn't allowed to get on a plane because they had diabetes.
100%.
Like, and they're going to listen to you. If it's a medication you need, they're not going to say this isn't insulin. Like, it's obviously insulin.
Yeah. It's going back to what you said before about the fact that people who work in airports see this stuff all day long, every day. People live with type 1 diabetes and all sorts of medical conditions. They have needs all over the world. It's about you doing what you need to do to stay safe and healthy and get on that plane. And for example, in the UK at least, or Europe, we have liquid bags that are limited size, but you're allowed to have a second one for medical supplies. So all my insulin goes in a separate liquids bag. I don't know how
That's
it works.
good to know. Well, in the US, we don't have like the clear bag thing, but I have experienced that.
Okay.
Not with diabetes. But that's good to know that I can, you don't have to worry about all the liquid that can fit in a bag.
Yeah.
It's separate. So thank you for that.
I need my face cream. I need my deodorant.
Yes.
And I need my insulin.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into your kind of travel essentials. Now that you're a seasoned traveler and also a tech expert, which I absolutely am not, can you give me a couple of your go-to, absolutely wouldn't travel without type 1 essentials?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you the links to all these. Some of these I have discount codes, and some of them are also affiliate links. So thank you. But that's not why we're doing this. First of all, that's a sugar pixel. It's not a travel necessity, but it's cute, and it shows you your glucose levels.
Love that. Yeah.
But speaking of airport, this has been my go-to bag for traveling, especially for long trips. Okay. And it doesn't have to be this one, but it's like a dedicated bag for your diabetes supplies. The reason I like this one, this is Sugar Medical, who I have worked with on like sponsored content before. I like this because it has like compartments for everything, and I'll show it to you.
Okay. Oh wow!
Like you see that? So like
this is a
insulin,
dream.
yeah. I mean needles. I mean there's a lot more room in here than I'm using. Whatever these are called, insulin pens, insulin, all my other things, and then this is like a little bit of a mess. But like you can see, all these devices are just fitting in here. I mean, this is not even full, but the nice thing about this is that because it's all together, so I'll put this in my carry-on bag, but sometimes I'm finding when I'm traveling through other countries is that they weigh your carry-on. Like it can only be 8 kilos. I'm like, that's new to me. So what I can do is I can take this out of my carry-on and say that this is my medical bag carry-on.
There's part of me when I've done long-term trips where you have so much at the beginning of the trip, and then when you fly home,
I love it. I love it.
Like,
I have more room.
Free.
Yes. I'm like every pump I use, I'm like, okay, we lost a few ounces. Great, amazing.
Thank you.
I could buy a T-shirt.
And see you later. Yeah.
That's literally that is such a thing.
When you opened that, I was like, this is diabetes nirvana. It's so nice to be able to share this chat. Okay, so next thing. So you've got a Frio there. Frio is something that I use. Yeah.
This
it's
thing's
a go-to.
Great.
So do you want to explain it?
Yeah, so Frio.
QVC.
Frio, I have also worked with them, and I have a discount code. But Frio keeps your insulin cool, or any medication you're using that needs to stay cool. So this little piece has like beads in it that once submerged underwater for like 10, 15 minutes, they'll expand with the water and they'll keep your medication cool for 3 days. Not refrigerator temperature cool, but cool enough where you can go anywhere, the beach, and it will keep your medication at a temperature that is good. Usable, yeah. So I mean, they make really big ones. So I had one that fits like a ton of insulin, and when I moved apartments, I basically took all of my insulin vials that were in the fridge, put them in there just for the transfer of 30 minutes, and then I put it right back into the fridge. I mean, that's fine. But yeah, this is a go-to when you're going on these long hikes that we're going on, or the beach day, whatever.
Yeah.
I just throw that in.
It's like my understanding, and again, don't quote me, not a medical professional, but I use that as a customer, and I have for many, many years. It's the difference between, like, if you were going to the beach for a day, because your insulin is fine out of the fridge for a month in certain temperatures. But if you're going to the beach for a day, that heat is on it. So keeping it in the Frio just keeps it from spoiling, essentially. And I've used that if I've gone on a safari or something like that, just knowing that the insulin is staying at a lower temperature. It's been like really helpful. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of the Frio. Paying customer. Okay. I wanted to ask you about Hypo supplies when you're abroad. Do you care about the type of Hypo snack that you carry, or are you just happy to grab whatever sweets look fun in the shop? Like, how do you approach that as a type 1 travel essential?
Ideally, you want your snacks to have dextrose, which is like the fastest acting glucose. So I try to just find anything with that, and not every snack has it. And you want to bring a ton of snacks. We got into this in my episode. Like, you just bring more than you need. One I'm using lately, and you probably saw this online because I feel like everyone's talking about them because everyone's getting them sent to them. But these Glow gummies, I have no affiliation with them, but they're really phenomenal. They taste good. They're like cubes of gummies that don't melt in high temperatures, have dextrose, and they taste really good.
Yeah, these are things you don't know and that you don't know. Because I'm a bit like, well, glucose is glucose, but it's not, to your point. Dextrose is the fastest acting one.
Versus a Sour Patch Kid gonna affect you differently.
But just to your point about things not melting, I have bought sweets before that have just glooped into one big thing. And like, if I'm hypo, I don't want to be chewing. I don't want to be trying to figure out how to do this. One thing I used to use, again, a paying customer, and this goes into the realm of like this limited space that you have when you're traveling, which is another thing that kind of you only really realize when you suddenly really realize. Sachets of something, I think it was called Elevate, and again,
those are good. It's like a powder, right? I tried Elevate. There were some flavors I liked and some flavors I didn't like.
And that's personal preference. A chalky dextrose tablet to me is never a good time, but it does the job. There's
another one like Elevate that's called Glucose SOS, which is really good, and like it's similar with the powder, and that I freaking love. They're flat packets.
This is it.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing.
Sachet.
Yeah, I just like the flavors.
Yeah, so the Cherry Elevate, I just personally really like.
That was good. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm a runner, so when I run, I take very small running pack, and I've got my phone in it, and I need to take sugar in it, and my key card or whatever, my essentials, but minimum possible. And I found those sachets just so helpful to like slip on them there for a run.
And also the bag you just mentioned is a really good bag to bring on trips like this, especially if you're a biker or runner. It's like these, I assume it's one of those expandable, like stretchy fannies that are like super small, but like you could put a water bottle in it. But like, you put those like a few essentials on your run, and those powdery things are perfect.
You just feel safe. And like going into something like a hike, we could talk about, because you generally would have like a backpack for that, but I generally then always wear something around my waist, whether it's a full size, we call them bum bags, your fanny packs. So I guess that depends whether you wear it on the front or the back. I would always have either the slim running belt or a bum bag separate, just so I can easily access my phone for glucose readings or my insulin, like my controller, depending on what device you're using, or your insulin, your injection. I would have 2 bags. Is that something that you do, or when you're hiking? Or you just
I
like
have
all
a
in the backpack?
drawstring backpack.
Yeah.
That's what I use, and just throw everything in that.
Easy.
And
Nice.
it's somewhere in here.
Okay, next travel essential.
Well, I think like I like to have a day bag.
Yeah.
So this can be, it's kind of like what you just said, but like it can be a fanny pack or a bum bag, day bag, because it has like clips for it. This is also Sugar Medical, but I don't wear it as a fanny.
Okay.
I just throw this in the bag,
Inside.
but why I like it is, okay, this is my favorite part. So you open this up, look at that. So you have
So
like the glucose
satisfying.
test. This is Velcro. So it comes with a Velcro
great.
attachment.
Yeah.
So that's right there. And then there's even a little deposit for the strips, the used strips.
That's
So you don't have to find them
cool.
at the bottom of every bag anymore. And then like room here, and then like tons of room in here. I currently have like 2 insulin pumps and a vial of insulin. But it's also insulated. And so is that, I should have mentioned. But like you can put an ice pack in here and it will keep everything really cool.
That's amazing.
Inside.
You can
Yep.
totally tell, I'm assuming as someone who's never seen these before, that someone with type 1 diabetes designed these because you've thought of everything, right?
Yeah, they have great bags, and these are just 2 of like many that they have. I had a couple other things. So, I mean, this is simple, but it's like vial silicone cases for your vials so you don't break them, especially as we've traveled like for months at a time. Like you can't afford for your insulin to break. So that...
Yeah, because that's like a month's worth or something like that, depending on the person. Like if that smashes, and I have knocked one out of a fridge before when I was traveling.
I've luckily never broken one, but I've dropped many and they just didn't break, and I'm like, that could have broken. And then I think that this is one of the most important ones, but are patches for your pumps and pump sites and CGMs. I really like these. These are skin grip, but you know, there's lots of different ones that are sold. But I like that they're colorful.
Yeah.
But I'm swimming a lot. I'm going to places that are really humid, and by day 2 or 3 of my pump, they start to come off. So I could just use these. I don't typically put them on immediately because maybe the pump will just stay on, but especially if I'm like running a lot or something, like these are great, and I use them for my continuous glucose monitor also.
Great. Okay, so hot countries especially, I think all of this is like super relevant. Also water sports, things like that. And I like what you said there about you don't necessarily need to put this on straight away, but you do get the ones where you see the adhesive start to peel away. And there are barrier sprays and creams that people might want to try. But equally cold climates, like you need to consider if you're going to a cold climate, how that's going to affect your glucose levels. And I think that's maybe something people don't think of as obviously as going to a hot climate. It's just interesting. But one thing from a practical point of view about like going to lots of different places, something I've learned to kind of at least check, if not ask for, is to have a fridge in the room.
Oh, yeah.
In the hotel room. So hostels maybe will work slightly differently, but certainly if I'm staying in a hotel room, I will check whether there's a fridge. And I think a lot of the times you can ask for it, or just make sure like on the booking website, it normally lists all the things that are in the room, right? Have you had to like, is there anything that...
Well, I was told, not doctor's advice, that insulin can actually last much longer than we're told outside of the refrigerator. So I haven't worried about fridges. But it is said that it only lasts for a month outside of the refrigerator. So like that's what's official. But I haven't had any issues like of it being out of the refrigerator in normal temperatures, like safe temperatures, for too long. But heat can absolutely ruin it.
Yeah.
So have you left your insulin in normal in room temp for like months and used it later and found it to be worse off, not see a difference? Like what's kind of your experience with that?
So the way I could speak to this, I think, would be the fact that I use an insulin pump, but I generally, especially if I'm going away for a weekend, say, would have an injection pen swimming around in the bottom of my bag. And that pen generally doesn't get used for quite some time because on the whole, my pump's absolutely fine. But I was abroad with a friend who also lives with type 1, and she pulled up this full brand new vial, and it looked like it had sand in it. It looked like a snow globe. And she was like, is this moldy insulin? And I was like, I think it might be.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it was. So that's the only time that I've seen that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Good to know.
I think I just, with the injection pen, I just kind of keep it in the back of my head, like I should switch that out now.
Yeah.
That's been in there too long. But it's my backup one. Okay, so is there anything else you want to show us?
The only other thing that I thought would be worth talking about is wearing a smartwatch.
Yes.
Or like the pros of wearing a smartwatch. So there are two that I wear. One is the Apple Watch, which a lot of you probably know, and like a Galaxy Watch, a Samsung Watch would benefit from this too. But I like having something like this for getting alerts from my CGM. So this is nice. And even if it doesn't have, like, some CGMs don't have an app for the watch, but you'll still get the alerts that come from your phone sent to the watch, and that will work with all the smartwatches. And then another watch that works similarly like that, where like this doesn't have an app on it. This is the Withings watch, and I like it. You see how it has like a little screen on it, like with little stats. So it's like it's a health tracker app. It has like miles, distance, heart rate, body temperature, whatever. It also gets alerts sent from your phone.
Amazing.
And you can choose which notifications you want. So I only have glucose alerts and phone call alerts on this, which are like the two things I really care about. So this has been like the thing that I wear most of the time. I use the Apple Watch a lot for video creation because you can look at the camera. In fact, I guess we could have been doing that this whole time. But I can look at the camera to see like what the shot is with this. So like this is like a great content creator thing. Okay. I would show you now, but we're filming. I'll show you after.
The second one, because I wear an Apple Watch for the same reason as you. Granted, I could get a new strap and I have not. But the second watch, I like that it's a smart watch. Like it looks smart, not a smart watch.
It's a health tracker with a sleek look.
She's cute, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this isn't, but sometimes these things that we have to wear, like I feel safe as someone, especially if you're traveling solo, like the alerts are really important, I found, and I love that I get them on my watch now. But you don't want to compromise on feeling good.
No, and there's other versions. There's more petite versions of the Withings watch. There's like different variations for depending on what kind of look you like. But I actually get compliments on that watch, whereas Apple Watch, like, no offense, but like same. But like it's an Apple Watch. It's like the completely. Band. You can get like, not that I'm like fishing for compliments, but I'm just saying it's like it's stylish. You know?
Yeah, I think we take the wins. With type 1 diabetes, there's all this extra stuff that we're thinking about, and you feel some type of way about having to carry all of this, and it's like I'll take those like sleek wins, 100%. One more question for you then. Travel and type 1 diabetes can throw up a lot of feelings for a lot of people, a lot of nerves. There's a lot to prep and plan for. What's your number one reason that you should travel, or in your experience has been the most rewarding part of traveling with type 1 diabetes?
Well, I like to say that traveling with type 1 diabetes is like not traveling with type 1 diabetes. It's the same. Just have the supplies you need, just like you need them at home. Yeah. It can feel really intimidating to travel because you're so far from home, from your pharmacies, from your doctors, whatever, but like, as long as you bring all the supplies you need and then some and cover all those bases, talk to your doctor and prepare for that. But like, there's so many rewards you can get from traveling that, and type 1 diabetes, any form of diabetes shouldn't prevent you from going and doing it.
Yeah. And a lot of the experiences I've had through travel where I have had to figure it out, plan for it, prepare for it through type 1 diabetes, I've actually then felt more prouder. I think I've got more from that experience because I'm like, I did that with type 1 diabetes. And there's a lot to be said for that, I think, as well. So thanks so much, Justin. This is absolutely wonderful, and I hope you enjoyed it, and definitely check out all the other stuff we've mentioned. And happy travels.